I'm not going to tell you about the things I saw in that house. I'm going to tell you about the things I heard. Because what I heard was far more frightening. And because it's still there, in my ears, in my head, in the quietest moments of the day, even 4 years after I left. My name is Caleb. I'm an acoustician. I study sound, how it moves, how it reflects, how it interacts with space and matter. That's why I was hired. And that's why I understand, more clearly than anyone else could, that the things I heard in house number 9 could not exist. The Morrison family hired me in April. They had been living in that house on the outskirts of Providence, Rhode Island for 8 months before they called me. 8 months of calls to repairmen, structural engineers, soundproofing specialists, all of whom shook their heads and found nothing. 8 months of sounds that all 4 members of the family heard but no one could explain. The husband, Thomas, told me about it over the phone before I arrived. His voice carried the exhaustion of someone who has told this story many times and knows the person listening won't believe them. Breathing, he said. Inside the walls. Not pipes, not rodents, not anything we've had checked. A person's breathing. Slow. Even. And sometimes, he paused. Sometimes it breathes in time with us. I arrived on a Monday morning with a full kit, directional recording equipment, low-frequency sensitive microphones, audio spectrum analyzers, and a set of vibration sensors I could affix to walls to measure structural oscillations. Standard work. I had done this in 27 buildings before and everyone had an explanation. Pipe resonance, hollow walls acting as amplification chambers, ventilation systems producing unusual sounds under certain air pressure conditions. House number 9 would be no different. That's what I thought when I walked in. The first 4 hours produced nothing. I moved through the house, placed sensors, calibrated equipment, recorded baseline audio levels. The house was old, built in the 1920s, wood and plaster, the kind of construction that regularly generates unusual sounds through thermal expansion. I took notes. I measured. I continued. At 2 in the afternoon, the Morrison family returned from shopping at my request. I needed to measure the acoustic baseline with the house empty, then again with occupants for comparison. And 15 minutes after they came back, I heard it for the first time. I was sitting in the small study in the corner of the house, watching the laptop screen analyze data from the sensors. Everything normal on the display. Then I heard, not quite through my ears or not only through my ears, something at a very low frequency. Below the ordinary threshold of hearing but not completely below it. The kind of sound you feel in your chest before your ears register it. Infrasound. Frequencies below 20 Hz, which the human ear cannot hear but the body perceives. Known to induce anxiety, unease, even visual hallucinations in some cases. I looked at the display. The sensor was recording a frequency spike at 18.5 Hz. I began tracing the source. Could be an industrial fan from a neighboring building. Could be a subway line, though Providence has no subway. Could be something in the heating system. I followed the sensors. The signal grew stronger as I moved toward the east wall of the house, the wall separating the master bedroom from the room belonging to the older son, Lucas, 14 years old. I attached additional vibration sensors to that wall. And my laptop screen showed me something I looked at 3 times before I accepted what I was seeing. The sound waves coming from that wall were not the formless infrasound I would expect from mechanical resonance. They had a rhythm. Regular, unhurried, repeating in a cycle of approximately 4 seconds. Exactly the rhythm of a person breathing deeply at rest. I knocked on the wall. The echo came back solid and dense. A full wall, no hollow spaces, no hidden cavities. I checked the structural drawings Thomas had provided. That wall was load-bearing, its core poured in concrete in 1987 when a previous owner renovated. No plumbing inside it, no electrical, no voids. Solid concrete. And from inside that solid concrete, my equipment was recording a breathing rhythm. I sat facing that wall for 2 hours recording data, and in those 2 hours the rhythm didn't change. 4 seconds per cycle. Steady as a clock. Like something in a very deep sleep. At 6 in the evening I carried my laptop to the kitchen where the Morrison family was preparing dinner and showed them the data. Thomas looked at the screen for a long time. His wife, Karen, looked once and turned away. Their youngest, Emma, 8 years old, was doing homework at the kitchen table. "It's been there since we moved in," Thomas said. "From the very first day." "Have you noticed," I asked carefully, "whether the breathing in the wall ever changes?" Thomas looked at me. "Yes. At night." He paused. "When we go to sleep," Karen noticed this first, took a few weeks to be certain, "it breathes a little faster. Not much. Just enough to notice if you're paying attention. Like something awake rather than asleep," I said. "Exactly," Karen said from across the room, not turning around. From the kitchen table, Emma looked up from her homework. "Dad," she said in the calm voice children use for things adults find frightening, "it also breathes faster when Emma cries." The room went quiet. "Emma," Thomas said gently, "have you told us this before?" "No." She looked back down at her homework. "I thought everyone already knew." I stayed the night. The Morrisons didn't object. I think they were relieved to have someone else in the house. I set up a recording station in the hallway, directly facing the east wall. High-sensitivity directional microphone, recording continuously. I sat in the study with the laptop, monitoring data in real time. At 10 in the evening, the Morrison family went to bed. I heard bedroom doors closing, water running in the bathroom, then silence. And on my screen, the breathing in the wall changed. Not suddenly. Gradually, over about 15 minutes, the cycle shortened. From 4 seconds down to 3.5. Down to 3. Down to 2.5. It stopped at 2.5. The rhythm of someone awake and paying attention. I sat in the dark watching the sound waves on my screen. Then at 11:47 at night, something happened that I hadn't expected. The breathing in the wall began to shift into a different pattern. No longer even. It accelerated briefly, then slowed, then accelerated again, in an irregular rhythm that took me nearly a minute to recognize. It was the breathing of someone listening very carefully. Like someone pressing an ear to the wall and holding very still to hear more clearly. I turned the directional microphone to its maximum sensitivity. I pointed it directly at the wall. And in the ambient noise amplified to the limits of my equipment, I heard, not clearly, not with certainty, but clearly enough to be suspicious, something that my brain decoded as the very low, very distant sound of someone whispering. I couldn't make out words, only the rhythm of speech. I recorded it. I ran noise filtering software through the night. At 6 in the morning, the software returned its results. I listened to the filtered audio file 4 consecutive times, sitting alone in the study with the door closed, before I was calm enough to lift my hands from the keyboard. The whispering from inside the wall, after filtering, was clear enough to understand. Not one voice. Many voices. Overlapping, interwoven, like multiple people whispering simultaneously from different places within the wall. And what they were whispering, repeated, soft and even as a prayer, were the names of each member of the Morrison family. Thomas, Karen, Lucas, Emma. Thomas, Karen, Lucas, Emma. Over and over, never stopping. I called Thomas at 7 in the morning and asked him to take his family out of the house for the day. He didn't ask why. His voice said he had been waiting for this call. I stayed alone in the house and spent the entire day measuring, analyzing, trying to find an explanation. I measured the resonance of every wall. I checked for external vibration sources, heavy trucks on the road, industrial machinery, anything. I mapped the acoustics of the entire house. And I found something that none of the repairmen or specialists before me had found, not because they weren't skilled enough, but because they didn't have my equipment and didn't know what to look for. The whispering frequency, after I had filtered it clean enough to analyze, was not originating from inside the wall. It was originating from every wall simultaneously. Not one source. Not one point. The entire structure of the house, every wall, every floor, every ceiling, was vibrating at the same frequency, the same rhythm, producing the same sound. As though the whole house was whispering. As though the house itself was the thing breathing. I met the Morrison family that evening at a coffee shop 2 miles from their home. I told them what I had found, not all of it, not the audio file with their names, because I didn't think that would help anyone. Only that there was an anomalous vibration source in the structure that I hadn't been able to explain, and that I was recommending they not stay there while I investigated further. Thomas nodded like someone who had known the answer for a long time. "We'll stay at my mother's," he said. "As long as it takes." Karen looked at me. "Have you heard them yet?" she asked directly. "The voices in the walls." I didn't answer immediately. "What did they say?" she asked. I looked at Emma sitting beside her mother, drinking hot chocolate, not following the conversation. I looked at Lucas on his phone. I looked at Thomas and Karen. "It wasn't clear," I said. "The data isn't clean enough to draw conclusions." Karen held my gaze long enough that I knew she didn't believe that. But she didn't ask again. I went back to the house alone one final time that evening. I don't know why I went back. I had enough data. I had enough evidence to write my report and recommend the Morrisons not return. I didn't need anything more. But something, the scientist in me or something more foolish than that, wanted to hear it one more time without equipment. Wanted to be certain. I entered the house at 9 in the evening. I walked straight to the east wall. I didn't turn on the lights. I just stood in the dark and listened with ears alone. And without any equipment, for the first time without equipment, I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Even. Like something in a very deep sleep. I stood there for a moment. Then I did something I cannot explain to this day. I placed my hand on the wall. And it stopped. 4 years later, that sudden silence is still in my ears. Not the breathing that haunts me. It's the moment it stopped when I touched the wall. Like something sleeping that had just sensed someone standing outside, touching it. I stood still. Hand still on the wall. Heart loud in the absolute silence. Then, very slowly, very softly, from inside the concrete beneath my palm, the breathing started again. But faster this time. Not the sleep rhythm. Not the waking rhythm. The rhythm of something that had been startled. I pulled my hand from the wall. I walked out of the house. I didn't look back. My report recommended demolition. The insurance company declined to cover it under the classification of phenomenon of undetermined origin. The Morrison family sold the house well below market value to a property company. I don't know what happened to it after that. I didn't look into it. I don't want to know who is living at number 9 now. I don't want to know whether they can hear the breathing in the walls. I don't want to know whether the house has learned their names yet. There is one last thing I haven't told. The audio file from that night, the file with the whispering of the Morrison family's names, I deleted it from my laptop immediately after listening to it. Completely deleted, no backup copy kept. Not because I was afraid of someone else hearing it, but because in that audio file, after the section with Thomas, Karen, Lucas, and Emma's names, after they repeated 17 times, there was one more name. Not anyone in the Morrison family. It was my name. Repeating, soft and steady, as though it had known I was coming before I ever walked through the door. And I don't know, I still don't know to this day, when it learned my name.